Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Taylor Andre, and this is Prince Rain Valentino Baez. Um, so I've watched, I feel, every YouTube video when it comes to VBAC and when it comes to natural birth in the last 9 months because it was something I was interested in. So I am 35 and I was 34 when I got pregnant. I was going to be 35 when Rain was born, so I was considered high risk. My first child, I was 20 years old, 19 when I got pregnant, 20 when I had him. He was a week and some change late. He was supposed to be born on May 28th. Anari ended up coming on June 5th. And the story of Anari's pregnancy is I never had high blood pressure. I never had, there were never any issues with my pregnancy. But when I was overdue, they said, we'll give you time. We'll wait until he's ready. I woke up one morning and had to use the restroom, and it came out green. And I went immediately to the hospital, coming to find out Anari had meconium in his system. They were like, let's do an emergency C-section. I was like, no, I don't want to be cut open. Like, I knew then, it's okay, you're okay. I knew then that I didn't want to be cut open, even at 20. And so from there, he went into distress. His heart rate was fluctuating. And so we ended up having to do an emergency C-section. With Asaria, she was 2 years after Anari. And this is when they believed, she's 12 now. This is when they believed once a C-section, always a C-section. So I scheduled a C-section and, we went in on 40 weeks. She was born. Now, 12 years later, I knew that I didn't want another C-section. And primarily the reason why I didn't want a C-section is because anybody who's ever had a C-section knows about the mom pouch, knows about the inability to feel your skin and your muscles and the muscle detachment and the tissue scarring and, just not just the physical that comes with having a C-section, but the psychological, no matter how much weight you lose, you can never get rid of your mom pouch. It's like a kangaroo pouch. You have to wear mom jeans, high-waisted jeans, and you always have that pouch. And I did not want to go through being bedridden for 3 weeks and not being able to move. And I never had a natural birth. And so that was something that I truly desired. And as long as it didn't put my baby in harm's way, like for instance with Anari's meconium, him being in distress, I was willing to fight tooth and nail to have a VBAC, a vaginal delivery after C-section, cesarean. And I have to tell you that my entire pregnancy, we had low blood pressure, we had low blood sugar, we had absolutely no issues. His heart rate was absolutely amazing. He turned me vegetarian. Still haven't eaten meat, can't stomach it. And we had a great pregnancy. Now, what a lot of people don't know is your due date is like an estimation time. Like, we think this baby should be done cooking in a week, in this amount of days. And the truth of the matter is 70% of babies are born 10 days after their due date or within a 10-day before or 10-day after spectrum of their due date. And doctors would have you think that if your baby's not born on the due date, that there's something wrong with you. And for me, this video is more so about empowering women to take control of your bodies, because I feel like we give so much power to the medical system and to doctors because, they went to school for 12 years. They know a lot more than I do. And the truth of the matter is, baby, you know your body better than any doctor. And we are in a time right now where most of these nurses and most of these doctors are younger than you. And the whole time I was in labor, I'm asking them, like, have you ever had a baby before? And not one of them were able to tell me yes. Like, oh no, I haven't, but I've delivered a lot of babies. Like, that's great. You can have a lot of black friends, but until you're black, you really don't understand the struggle. So, no, you can't tell me how I feel about, giving birth right now. And so, say, hey, Papa. He's a week old. So, I had a very long, and I brought it upon myself. I had a very long labor. So, I want to say Wednesday at 4 a.m. I was in, maybe even 3 a.m. I was in a lot of pain. I was feeling contractions. It kind of felt like bubble guts, but on like, when you have bubble guts and you feel like you're about to die? That's what it felt like. It's just like, please, God, if you let me survive this, I'll never drink again. Like that type of bubble guts. And I've never been in labor before because I had two C-sections, so I never really truly experienced labor. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was going to feel. And the bubble guts were real. It was like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and we had a doctor's appointment on this day, on this Wednesday. So I was just like, I feel something, not sure what I feel. We have a doctor's appointment at 2. Let's wait until the doctor's appointment. So from 2 a.m. to 2 p.m., 3 a.m., I'm feeling these contractions. I'm going through the motions. During the doctor's appointment, they tell me that I'm 3 centimeters dilated. You may have the baby today. You may have the baby next week. Some women are 7 centimeters dilated for weeks. There's no real telling when he's going to come. So, okay, that's fine. We end up going out to eat, getting some food, and the contractions are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And they're anywhere between 6 minutes apart, 8 minutes apart, 42 minutes apart. So we go out to eat, and I look like a crazy woman because I have to stand up and like breathe and walk around and squat and, do all types of things. But when you're in this level of pain, you really don't care at all. Ate some amazing food, ended up going home on this particular day. My significant other had a lot of running around to do. So I was just like, I'm okay. I'm at home with the children. If anything happens, we'll call you. We'll go to the hospital. So that evening, Wednesday evening, I think we went to the hospital around like 8 or 9 p.m. And I was in pain. Like I was in real pain. Like I have a video that I posted on Instagram and I'll share it with you guys, but it was like, I don't even know how to explain it. I felt like I was like, ooh. I sounded like a wounded animal, like a cat in heat, but I was trying to like utilize my breathing and learning like breathing techniques from jiu-jitsu and utilizing those, but at the same time trying to do like pregnancy breathing techniques. It really didn't work out for me at all. Went to the hospital in triage, and they said you're 3.5 centimeters. Mind you, I've been in pain for the last 16 hours, and I'm still, just a half a centimeter more than we were at 2 p.m. So from there, I'm like, I'm not staying here for another 7 centimeters. I come home and my significant other is taking care of, other obligations. And I'm at home and I'm breathing. I'm in the tub. And now they're stronger. And every time I had a contraction, I had to pee. Like if you're pregnant now and you've only had cesareans, like I'm trying to help you understand the process. Every time I had a contraction, I had to pee. And one of the things that I noticed, like I wasn't missing my mucus plug, or I never noticed my mucus plug removing itself. My water did not break at this time, and no matter what I did, I could not induce myself. I was squatting, I was walking, I did everything, quote unquote, you're supposed to do to help induce yourself. So we get back around 11 p.m. From 11 p.m. until 5, 6, 7 a.m. on Thursday, I'm in excruciating pain. Um, Anywhere between 5 minutes apart to 45 minutes apart. And I know this because, again, every time I had a contraction, I got up and I went to the bathroom because it feels like you have to pee, but feels like you have to poop, but feels like his head is, or her head is literally right there about to come out. And I wanted to check because I thought I was in the process of actually giving birth. Like it hurt that much. I thought I was giving birth at home by myself. And that was one of the things that I told a lot of people. Like, I want an at home birth. I want a water birth. I had 2 C-sections. Like, I want to be able to experience it and be at home and be in the comfort of my home. Girl, no, that's not how it works. That is not how it works. So my significant other drops his daughter off at school, and I'm like, listen, we have to go, and we have to go now. Like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot do this anymore. And so we get in the car, and it's to the point where I can't sit down, and I haven't been able to sit down now for the last 12 hours. So I'm on my knees, literally. I don't know if you guys can see the couch, but I was literally on this couch, on my knees, facing the couch, sleeping. Like, my head is here, my belly's here, and my knee, like that's how I slept for 11 p.m. until 5, 6 a.m. Once he came back from dropping his daughter off, we went to the hospital. I am in the front seat of our car, knees in the seat, hugging the back, like crying. Walk into the hospital and tell them, like, I'm ready for the epidural. Like, I'm ready. I wanted to do this natural. It's not gonna happen that way. I'm ready. And I end up getting the epidural. This is the first time that I slept in like 36 hours. And I slept, and it was a good sleep. I think we got to the hospital around like 7 or 8 a.m. I slept uninterrupted until 12. It was the best sleep of my life. They woke me up at 12. They checked me again. I was 7.5 centimeters dilated. He wasn't ready then. They kept telling me that, and this is like the moment of empowerment, right? So they kept telling me that they were going to induce me, and they showed me like this little thing with a hook on it, and we're gonna induce you, and we believe that, if, what did the doctor say that was really discouraging? Like, it did not feel like she had my best interest. She made a comment along the lines of, you're not going to be in labor all day. Like, I'm not going to, like, basically, I felt like she was like, I'm not going to be here all day waiting for your son to be born. And I'm thinking to myself, like, my love, this is your job. This is what you do. You wait for babies to come out. Again, going in, being empowered, and knowing my rights as a human, knowing my rights as a woman, knowing my rights as his mother, that I was not going to let a doctor dictate and determine my birthing plan. Like, I walked in there with a birthing plan. We walked in there because it wasn't just my birthing plan. We walked in there with a birthing plan, and we were going to follow through on the plan. And she was not part of the plan. So you're going to have doctors that are going to tell you what they think is best. But again, you know your body, you know your child, you know your pregnancy, and the doctor, again, one of the number one questions I asked was, do you have children? If you don't have children, you're not about to you're not making these decisions on my behalf, period. And if you've never had a child, from there, your opinion matters not. Thank you for your professional opinion, but your personal opinion matters not in this situation, specifically for me. So they're telling me, if your water doesn't break soon, if this doesn't start hurrying up, mind you, I'm 7.5 centimeters dilated. I've been in the hospital since 7, 8 a.m. And I just got the epidural around 9 a.m. and slept until 12. So I've really been in labor for about 3 hours on your watch, on your dime, which really isn't your dime. It's my insurance's dime, which pays you. So I'm not understanding why you're frustrated at your job of waiting on my child that will come at his leisure. Well, at least this was my mindset, okay? So Raphael had to take care of some things, and he would be back at 3:30, and I'm like, listen, if my water doesn't break by the time Rich goes and comes back, we'll discuss breaking my water. Let me tell you, so Rich came back, I want to say at 3:35, maybe 3:40. The doctors walked in maybe at 3:47. Rain broke his water at 3:45. Like, those aren't accurate numbers, but I talked him through it. I coached him through it. I'm like, Papa, I don't want them to induce us. Like, I want us to be able to do this naturally. One of the things I want to rewind really quickly is when I went for my appointment a week prior to Wednesday. So again, I'm in labor. I'm in the hospital on Thursday. I had a doctor's appointment, went to the hospital, was 3.5 centimeters dilated on Wednesday, was in labor all day Wednesday, almost all day Thursday. A week prior to that Wednesday appointment, I had another appointment. And my doctor said, I want to schedule a C-section if he doesn't come by the end of the weekend. I got a call from the doctor's office saying that I just want to talk to you about pre-op. We're not talking about pre-op because we're not talking about a C-section. I would like for you to cancel that appointment, have my doctor call me, because we are actually going to wait until he doesn't show up before we schedule anything. Like, we're not going. And I was really adamant about this. And as far as you women are concerned, like, I need you to be adamant. Again, these doctors have PhDs, they have MDs. They make you feel like I know what's best for you. But baby, you know what's best for you. You have a relationship with your child. You know exactly what's going on inside and out. Do not let anybody make decisions on your behalf, period. So I'm over here talking to him. I'm like, Papa, they wanted to give you a C-section and you brought labor on. They want to break your water, but I want you to do it by yourself. And he did. He broke his water like literally 2 minutes, 120 seconds before they came in, and they're like, oh, we're gonna, induce you now. And Raphael was like, no need to. He broke his own water. And so they were like, okay, let me see where you're at. At this point, at 3:30 something, it was like 3:45, we were 9.5 centimeters dilated. There was one side, so I was laying on my left side as I was sleeping, and of course gravity helps all things. If you can, with your epidural, I really tried. My legs were super heavy, but I tried to like sit on my knees and kind of hug the back of the bed like I did the couch, like I did with the chair in the car. But my legs were so heavy at the hospital due to the epidural that I was unable to, do that. I ended up sleeping on my side, and it made my left side completely efface. Like, the half a centimeter that wasn't dilated was on my right side. So we switched. I laid on my right side. I was on my right side for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And at this point, I'm like, do not push, do not push, do not push, do not. Like, I had to coach myself. I was talking to myself, like, don't push. It really, literally feels like you are at the grocery store and you have to boo boo. And there's no, like, you're stuck in traffic, not even at the grocery store, because you could find a bathroom, you could ask somebody to use a private bathroom. You are stuck in traffic in your car. You have to number two, and there's no bathroom nowhere around you, and you're not about to go on yourself. That's what it feels like. Literally, that's what it feels like. And I'm like, do not push, do not push, do not push. And they were like, Taylor, you've been on your right side for like an hour and a half. You might want to start pushing now. Let's check. I was 10 centimeters dilated. They could feel his head. They were like, oh, he has a whole bunch of hair. We're so proud of you. And I pushed, and I pushed, and I pushed, and I pushed. And at 7:48 p.m., Prince Rain Valentino entered the world, and it was absolutely amazing. And I got to experience a VBAC, which all of the nurses that were in the room during his labor, during his delivery, during our postpartum, every single last one of the doctors, every single last one of the nurses made me feel like I was a unicorn, because women don't take their pregnancy into their own hands. And this wasn't said to me, but it was just like, a lot of women just opt into the C-section. And I did my research. As far as Boston is concerned, I'm located in Boston, Massachusetts. As far as Boston is concerned, we have one of the highest rate of cesareans in the country. And it's a lot cheaper to push a baby out with your own body than it is to actually enter into an operating room. And we did not enter the operating room. We did not have a C-section. And when I tell you he was born on Thursday, I was in the office on Monday. Maybe not working all day, but there was some business that I had to take care of. And I was able to get up. I was able to walk. And I could not do that with my C-sections at all. At all. I had no mobility with my C-sections. And to be able a week, today is Tuesday, Rain will be 2 weeks on Thursday, to be able to be as mobile as I am, to be as active as I am, to be as engaged with him as I am. I remember going to the doctor's appointments with Anari and Asaria after my C-sections and not be like, damn near not being able to move. Walking into hospital looking like I was the Walking Dead, needing to be the one at the doctor's office, not just taking my newborn for an appointment. And to be able to come home and to clean up and, to be on just Tylenol, ibuprofen, and stool softeners versus a host of pain medications and antibiotics is absolutely amazing. And if you can, I know not all women can. Maybe you have preeclampsia, maybe you have high blood pressure, maybe there's a host of other reasons why you can't. But if you can have a VBAC, do it, baby. Like, it is the most empowering. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. And there was a point where I was pushing, and I had a great team. Raphael was in the room. He truly held it down because my legs were super heavy, and he held my legs for like 3 hours straight. My mom was there. My sister Carol was there, and his godmother was there. And it was it was so beautiful. It was such an amazing experience. And there was, at one point, I was pushing, and they were like, you can touch his head. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And he had a head full of hair, and I was just feeling his hair, and it was gorgeous. It was so gorgeous. And when his head popped out and then the rest of his body just slid out. And the first thing they did was put him on my chest. Like, I didn't get that experience with my C-sections. They were like, she went, yeah, you see your baby? Okay, we're gonna go take them in the other room, clamp, 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 snip, snip, snip. And um, he was attached to his placenta. We delayed cord cutting until it was no longer pulsating. And it was just beautiful. It was on so many levels, it was beautiful. To be able to see my placenta, to be able to, like, just the whole entire experience. To have two C-sections. And again, I was considered high risk because I got pregnant at 34. I was giving birth at 35, and they considered me high risk. Our blood pressure was good. Our blood sugar was good. We had no complaints. His heart rate was amazing. And if you have those factors in your pregnancy and they keep praising you on like how well the baby's doing, there is no reason why you cannot and should not vouch for yourself and have a VBAC. Walk in there with a birthing plan. Walk in there with support system that supports your birthing plan, and know what you want and know where you stand and know that you can say no. You can say no. So when they say, I want to induce you, I want to break your water, no. You can say no. They're going to suggest this and suggest that and, kind of make you feel like you can't say no. But baby, no. I want to wait. Give me 3 hours. Give me 4 hours. Like, whatever you feel comfortable with, tell them that. If they want to give you a C-section because you've had them before, mind you, I do want to be mindful. There are risks to VBACs, but I had a 12-year healing gap. My youngest is 12. And then being pregnant 12 years later, my body had time to heal. If you're having a baby within 2 years of your last C-section, you may want to do a little bit more research and just check with yourself and check with your body. But other than that, do not be discouraged. I want you to feel empowered. I want for my story to be, there was no other stories on YouTube as I was going through videos. There was nothing else that, I'm over 35. I was considered high risk. They want me to have a C-section. I really want to do a VBAC. All of them were like discouraging videos. So I want to encourage you to speak up and speak for yourself and walk in there, and whoever is on your birthing plan, whoever is in your corner, whoever's going to be in the room with you, and be vocal about that as well. Because the truth of the matter is, my husband, my mother, my best friend, and my sister, as well as my sister's 3 kids, were in the room when I gave birth. So, and they discourage you like, no, you can only have one person or two people. And I know every hospital is different, but you have to advocate for yourself. You have to speak up for yourself. You have to know what you want, and you have to have your voice and use your voice. And nobody knows what you want more than you. And no one's going to read your mind. So with that being said, that is my story of VBAC, being 35, being high risk, and being told that you need to have a C-section. You've had 2 before. Why not just schedule the 3rd? Because I didn't want to. Because I wanted to experience what my ancestors experienced, minus that epidural. I cannot imagine what our ancestors went through, like actually giving birth on a Monday and going back to work on Tuesday or Wednesday. I cannot imagine what childbirth looked like minus epidural, so I'm allergic to the fentanyl family. So I didn't get that pain relief that a lot of people who get epidurals get. So I still felt a lot of pressure that typically with epidural you don't feel. But I cannot imagine what no pain, like no epidural giving birth would feel like. So if you have experienced that, like my mother, all five of her kids, no epidural, straight push them out. That woman's a warrior. I have so much more respect for my mother. I have so much more respect for women in general after giving birth. It puts life in perspective. Um, it's it's a completely different experience than a C-section. It is. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Waking up with Taylor Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day that we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. This is Prince Rain Valentino. He was 7 pounds, 10 ounces, 20 inches, and when we left the hospital, he was 7 pounds, 12 ounces. When we left his doctor's appointment 2 days later, he was 7 pounds, 14 ounces. So he is a growing boy that eats a lot. We're strictly nursing right now, but one of the things that a lot of people while I was pregnant was like, oh, is this your first kid? And I'm like, I don't look my age. So I'm like, no, this is my first after 12 years. They're like, why would you have another kid? You were almost done. And do not let anybody make you feel like you are too old to have a baby. Everybody has a different life path. Everybody has different, goals. And I want to say he is definitely a new beginning for me. I have a new appreciation for life. I'm able to provide more for him, and not just like a financial um, stability, but I have a mental and emotional and spiritual stability that I was not able to give to my children at 20 and 22, that at 35 he gets to benefit from. Like a lot of the mistakes that I made with Anari and Asaria, he won't have to endure those mistakes. And not just that, but more patience, learning from what I did wrong or what I didn't do correctly with my first two. Everybody's different, and people have expectations for you that they're really you can't live your life based on other people's expectations of you. And so if you're 35 and you haven't had a child yet, when you're ready is when you're ready. And don't let anybody else tell you what you should have done by now.